How you doing? It's Davy Burke and Enda Varley here again, just to review the weekend's activity there. First up, we're going to look at the Armagh Donegal game from today. We're going to move on to Mayo v Kildare. Then we're going to have a look at Clare v the Rossies. And then finally, we're going to have a look at Cork and Limerick. First up, we're going to look at the Armagh Donegal game from this afternoon. And two teams that have played each other. I think this is the third competitive game against each other this year. So there'll be no love lost in this one. And Enda, how did you see this one go?
To be honest, I thoroughly enjoyed the first half hour anyway. After all the slagging I was giving Donegal the last day on this, but look, Donegal came out with a more positive attitude. I suppose they heard the critics against Jerry. I thought they obviously started off very well, especially the response to the first 10 seconds the goal went in, but they responded very well. But then I suppose getting into the latter stage of the first half, they a few defining moments, we'd say. The turnovers, the kickouts, and obviously the black card and the goal from that really kind of scuppered them, and their confidence and their kind of morale went to pot after that, and Armagh fairly capitalised from there.
Yeah. It started out when it went 9 points to 1-2. Yeah. I thought, oh, we're on here. I thought Donegal were finally going to give us what we all think is it. Maybe finally live up to their ability, maybe in inverted commas, or at least to their names on paper, But it was some collapse really to go from 9 points to 1-2 up to the turnaround in the end. Like, it's some swing, and particularly when, again, early on they had Rafferty on the ropes big time with the press. They pushed 13 men. Like, from my reading of it, they left was Owen Bond, the keeper, and one other defender. I can't think of the other keeper, Caleb Moore, I think it was. They were the only people left in their half, and they 13 men inside the half. So it was serious going now, big press on, and really caused Rafferty problems. But once Armagh got to grips with that, really Donegal had nothing else. Really, they'd no other threat.
No, look, Murphy and McBurty, it was great to see. They transitioned the ball like quicker this time, a lot quicker. Patton in goal, it gave them a good platform. I think a couple of scores, it was literally 3-4 passes up the field, and when you see Murphy inside and McBurty, they're two of the best footballers in the country, and they can do some serious damage when they're utilised in that way. It's just, I suppose, it's just a killer blow. The black card and the double whammy of the black card and the goal as well. It was a great finish by Marine O'Neill. He took it very well. But after that, it was just I suppose they were hurt. They came out the first half hour all guns blazing, but then when that bit of adversity came upon them, they kind of, I'm afraid to say, they kind of shut up shop, and that was kind of it. Armagh were very comfortable. They capitalised. They really put them away, especially during the black card, the 10 minutes. The goalie Patton was off, and they round off 3-4 scores there to really put the nail in the coffin, and Donegal simply had no answers. And to be honest, it was kind of, again, we're on about the management. This is Bonner's 5th year, and I'm afraid it kind of symbolised, it was the kind of the final nail in his coffin, to be honest with you. I suppose the first 2 years, feel good factor. They won the two Ulster titles, and ever since then, I suppose the last 3 years they haven't progressed, and they just haven't made that extra step, or that final step, should I say, into the top two, competing for All-Irelands. And look, there will be a shake-up, I presume, during the winter, and we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, it looks to me like it'll be the end of the road, and I think I spoke with this before. The staleness is evident. They look a team lacking imagination, lacking energy, lacking ideas, and I'd say they're just at the end of the road. It's probably a natural end, 4 or 5 years in the job.
Yeah.
You're not going anywhere. Not again, like we were talking about before, and not the end of the world, lads. You went in, you've done the job, fair play to a couple of Ulster titles picked up. Time to go. Yeah. Again, doesn't mean they're good, bad, or indifferent. Just time to go. That kind of way. So it doesn't have to be this now. And a big thing, hopefully, as well, if they are to go. Obviously we need to get away from all this online criticism and all this rubbish that's going on at the minute. And, every manager is the worst in the world now, and everyone has been absolutely torn to shreds.
Nailed.
Yeah. It's so wrong. Like, it's so wrong. I heard Brendan Devaney or someone there today said a brilliant one. What did he say? Was it a 1 point? of a difference between what did he say?
Against Derry, is
Yeah.
it?
No, today he said a great
Oh, today.
one-liner. I can't think of the top of my head now. It'll come to me in a minute. But he came up with a great one. All he was saying was Donegal were 1 point away from winning the Ulster, and all of a sudden they're in crisis. But he had a great saying for it, And
Yeah.
it's very true. Like you're never as bad as you think, and you're never as good as you think. That kind of way.
Right.
So but this Donegal team, they're definitely at the end of this road, and they need a good shake-up, need to be rejuvenated, energetic. I'd say Rochford will probably move on, I'd say too. And I'd say they need to. But flipping it around, Armagh are very, very impressive, Enda. I think they're a good side. I have to say, I was a couple of months ago, I was talking about Armagh. I thought they got their periodization wrong. I thought they came too hard, too early against Dublin in February, or they looked like world beaters in Croke Park. And I thought they would just had trained harder than everyone else, or trained earlier than everyone else, etc., etc. But I have to say, I'm very, very impressed with how they did dip towards the end of the league and how they've ramped it back up again. I'm very, very impressed with their conditioning levels. But they're a brilliant team in their variation. They run the ball well and they kick the ball well. They really are a double threat team. And
there's one fatal flaw though, Jay. To be honest, I can't. Like, it's all well at the Raftery, the kickouts. Like the top three teams are going to nail them on that, and that's a serious weakness on their part. If they get on top, look, they played a Tyrone team and they played a Donegal team, two teams that were literally not all yet. Well, Donegal are a bit different, but Tyrone were a spin force is not the right word.
waiting to be beaten.
Waiting to be beaten. Yeah, exactly. Now, obviously, they have a really good squad, and there must be something going on in the inner circle that we don't know about. But again, they've had two teams that kind of were on the way down this year. I'm not saying they're spent forces. Rejuvenation is a good word to say. A new management team coming in there. They're really good squads. The two counties, and they can look at. They'll be back competing again next year, but they need a fresh voice there. So like with Armagh, to be honest, I'd be fearful. I would. I know they're a good squad. I know they're a good team, but I would be fearful for them against the top. The Kerrys, the Dublins. Yeah, we'll talk about Mayo now in a second. I won't put them in that bracket yet. But especially the Dublin, the proven winners. Like, if they put the squeeze in that kick out, and it is a bit of a novelty, and it's exciting with the goalie coming out. But like, instead of, I don't, he's a keeper, he's a forward in the club scene, and I will kick back on this a small bit. I think that a goalie should be basically making that overlap, getting out of defence. I don't think the goalie should be going up 100, as you said last day. Pitch is 140 meters. 100 meters, he has to travel up and down that pitch. I don't see the need for him. All he needs is an overlap, a wing back coming off, and
to get you out.
To get you out. I don't, his kick out, as you alluded to say, in the beginning was on commentary. I thought, you could see from the back of the goal, they overloaded. Donegal overloaded on one side, and he prefers the right hand side, kicking across his body for the left. Yeah. So like, unless Armagh come up with some strategy, if the short kick out is not working, they're going to have to come up with some sort of strategy, overload one side, get 2 or 3 extra men around the breaking ball if they go long, or when they go long, because teams will get 1-4, 1-5 that kick out. And you saw today, the momentum, once you get a goal, the momentum is absolutely huge, and it's very hard to change that.
And the pressure heaps on the keeper, and the next one can go anywhere. And all of a sudden, the confidence is stripped out of the team. And if Dublin go Howard, McCarthy, Fenton, and Tom Lahip or whoever across that back line, like, you're not getting out. Like, you're not getting out. And they could really, really do that. And they're the masters at it. And Kerry have shown over the years on and off, they're quite good on and off, So, absolutely. But the one thing I will say is, and I'm not here to say Armagh are better than they are, or I'm not here to promote Armagh necessarily. I was very, very impressed with them. Yeah. Very difficult to play Donegal again, another Northern derby. Like, geez, I'd say they would have loved anybody else, But they do. It's absolutely, you're dead right. It's obvious this is their biggest weakness. But if it's your biggest weakness, you can spend a lot of time on it. You can spend a lot of time. And look, I absolutely agree with you. I think they're going to get themselves into bother. And for what Rafferty contributes, what does he contribute? Right, maybe a score or two a game, or maybe creates a score or two a game. But one goal off an intercepted kick out and it's undone. Completely undone and worse. So, Yeah, you're right. But then again, Blaine Hughes it was the regular keeper. He's gone. Well, I don't know if he's gone, but he's not involved. And so they obviously don't have another option at the minute. I'm not sure it's just the sweeper keeper. I'm not sure I think Rafferty might be their best option at the minute without knowing the in-depths of the squad, you know?
Yeah, McGeady did try this a few years ago, and
Yeah.
I think he put Campbell in goal. Stephen Campbell. Was it Campbell? It was some
No.
midfield players.
Yeah,
Who was
different
it?
lad. Different lad, I think.
Different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was an absolute. Was it Campbell? I don't know. Anyway, it was a disaster. But look, I'm not bloody riding Armagh here. Look at their for Crow Park. Crow Park. I said this the last day. Crow Park will suit them. They're, as you said, they have a good balance between a kicking game and a running game. They have serious athletes, good middle third. They have some really good forwards. And they said, even look at some set plays. They got 1-1 from the throw in today. Like, that first goal was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was just great to see, to be honest with you. So, and they have, look at Donaghy is good, and McKeever, like
Yeah.
three. They're smart. They're smart coaches. They come across very smart, and they're well drilled. As you said, they probably went a bit hard at the start, and they're peaking well here now. But
Yeah.
again, if the draw is made on Monday, if they face to Dublin, would I be saying Armagh will beat them? I can't, to be honest with you.
No. I don't think anyone will be saying that today. But I think Dublin's the worst draw for them because Dublin are going to hold that league result. Dublin will remember that. They won't forget that league result in their home pitch. Well, sorry, inverted commas, home pitch. They won't like that. Dublin won't like that, and that'll work against them. Very similar to what Kildare done to Dublin and Newbridge in the league. Dublin held on to that. They'll never tell you they held on to that, but they held on to that.
Oh, they're pissed. They're absolutely.
So Armagh will get the same treatment of Dublin, I would imagine. So they don't want them. I would say tomorrow, but all in all, very, very competitive. I think they're a right good side. I think they're really improving. They have a marquee player, like a really marquee top drawer player. You can put him edge of the square. You can play him at 6, play him at 8, and see his distribution. That's 2 weeks in a row now. Quality. With Grugan pulling the strings at 11. Look at Conor Turbot off the line. Like, he's a right good player. I would have seen him up close this year with Queens. He's a right good footballer. Then you've obviously Nugent in the corner, and like they're Jason Duffy's there. They're a decent side. Like, overall, they're a decent side. Yeah.
Hold on, a couple of comments here. Shawnee K. Johnny Gall were better team today, but goals change games. A quarter-final draw is a joke. It should be full open draw. Look, I agree. Goals do change games. Look, it was a turning point. Who knows if I think that as you said, the black haired and the goal, it was a double whammy for them, and they couldn't, and especially Armagh put the squeezers on it after that. It was actually great to see they win for it. They knew they're a bit of emphasis in their play. They're really trying to force the issue. They round off 4 or 5 scores from that and really put Donegal to the sword. You never once you have someone down by the neck, you don't let them up easily. No. So Armagh certainly did that.
Expand on that point. That's 2 weeks in a row. Mayo done the exact same thing to Monaghan last weekend. The exact same thing. When McManus went off, Mayo squeezed right up the field for the black card, got 1-3 off it without reply, and won the game in that 10-minute period. And again today, clearly this is coaching. I'd say this is on the training ground. You're working on this scenario. You play 15 on 14 for 10 minutes or whatever it might be, and force the issue. Really go after them. And I'd be picking up bits off this myself, and I'm sure lots of other people are. The way people are going about these things, and if in the club championship later in the year, if an opposition team was to drop a number, whereas before, what do people do? They sit them as a sweeper, Enda, or they play a +1 or whatever they might do, whatever. Whereas now it looks to me like teams are absolutely going overload, full core press, really squeezing high up the field, and for the better. I think that's absolutely for the better for the game, So, but again, it's just all these learnings, all these different things the management at that level are all doing. It will start to filter down to everybody else, but it's very smart, very, very good coaching, I would believe. And 2 weeks in a row, a black card probably decided the game. 2 weeks in a row, it's huge decisions. When someone's gone for 10 minutes, as it's massive. It's absolutely massive. Just one thing on the 4 splitting up the open draw. I'm not sure. what's the carrot for winning your province? Now don't get me wrong, I'm no pro the provinces at all, but I'm just saying, if you do win your province and then Dublin and Kerry get each other in the quarterfinal, or Derry get Galway in the quarterfinal, I'm not sure that's fair either. And in every club championship or every championship that I know, the person who tops their group generally always gets seeded or whatever it might be. So your incentive in your round robin or your incentive in your provincial championship is to win it out, so you get that handier touch, and I think that's right, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, look, I agree with you, Davey. I totally agree with you. There has to be some award for the provincial winners. Surely Case said, love to see Armagh play Derry and Galway Mayo in the quarterfinal. Well, Galway Mayo can't meet, and I don't think Armagh and Derry can they meet? Can Armagh and Kerry? No. Well, I know Mayo can definitely meet Kerry, Dublin, or Derry. After that, can the provincials meet again? No.
I think, you know what? I don't know. I think unless you played each other in the provincial, I know Cork can't meet Kerry, and Clare can't meet Kerry. To be honest with you, Enda, it's so confusing. I don't know how many people actually know what is they've for such a simple 4v4. There's 4 names in this hat. There's 4 names in this hat. How absolutely ridiculously mad and complicated have they made this? That kind of way.
Yeah, I know.
But actually, look, it is what it is. So all in all, Armagh continue on. Donegal, big restructure, big rebuild, but players are still there. Probably 1 or 2 aging legs, but you'd be surprised what a new management can do. A new, positive, upbeat, energetic setup can get that team back in the road. I think, definitely.
The funny thing is, JB, if like Donegal had to, we'll say when the goal and the black cards, when it happened, Donegal should have reverted back to the old Donegal style for that 10 minutes. It's the game management, which is kind of funny to say, but like they're under the cosh and they just need to ride out that 10 minutes. And they were so positive. And then like Patton was surprised today, just a couple of loose kickouts, as some of the comments said there. Yeah, like it is a momentum changer. Who knows if that didn't happen, the 2 short kickouts, if Armagh didn't get that, who knows, it would have brought fresh confidence into Donegal going in at half time, a point or 2 down, if even, like. So it's it's fine margins. But again, Armagh were positive. They pushed up in the kick out. They tried, as in you'll get rewarded for being positive instead of the shite of letting it. I can't understand teams letting someone have their kick out.
Give them a platform. Give them a platform.
It annoys me so much.
Now, I can understand. I can get
flag up.
Yeah, but I can get set in a trap now. Don't get me wrong. Now, when I was with Wicklow, just very briefly, right? We had a very athletic, strong run in midfield, right? But we didn't have, we no Fetcher. We no Fetcher, very little area across the half back line, right? Midfield area. So we were going on a Tipperary. Just be very, very quick. Going on Tipperary in Semple Stadium, and you're talking about all half a Clonmel commercials across the middle, and we just could not compete with them, right? Just could not compete with them. So we conceded the ball to the 2, but we were setting a trap. So we didn't drop off, but we gave them the 2, and then we filtered across the field, and time again, we set the trap and we turned them over. So there's conceding the kick out by dropping off. That's for me is a no. It's an absolute no. You're giving them a platform to play. You're giving your opposition a platform to carry up the field. Whereas if you're conceding and setting a trap, that's different. That for me is acceptable. If you're looking at we're not brilliant in the air here. If they kick 2 or 3 out, they could win clear marks, get runners, and we're in trouble. That kind of way. Whereas at least if they're 130 meters away and we're trying to set a trap and force them into it where we want them to go and get the heat on the ball where we want it on it, that kind of thing. So there is 2 different ways.
There's actually an interesting chart from Cavan actually said, was it 2 years ago when they played Dublin, that basically Dublin were very good at setting traps coming out of he was coming out of defence. Obviously Dublin were trying to overturn them in attack, and he basically said the Dublin players, if like realistically or logically, that player can only kick the ball 30 meters. So like everyone else can be in front of the man within reason. And if you get the squeeze on that, and if you mark the goalie, well then that's, as you said, you're getting the trap on the player. And we soon see how good a cornerback is taking on his man with the sideline by 2 meters away from him. So it's just another interesting thing. I don't think a lot of teams do it, but definitely again, I think Dublin are ahead of the game when it comes to
standard of coaching. It's all about the coaching. If you do that night on night, because if the wrong man, this is the problem, Enda. If your midfielders step ahead of their man, the ball's getting dinked over their head and they're away. So you have to be touch tight everywhere on the field that the ball can reach. As you said, they can only travel so far, right? And if you drop off 5 yards, they're getting out, and then the whole idea is gone, and they're wide open again. Whereas you can mark from the front when they're 40-50 away, because then it's a 50-50 ball, they're kicking in and booting the ball, and you're happy enough with that, But,
well, is that defender really is he really going to be able to kick it 40-50 meters if someone's up his hole?
Yeah. Not accurately. Not accurately.
No. So it's look, we're getting off the point, but anyway, look, I agree with you. I think look, we'll see how the draw goes. Fair play to Armagh. They're more positive. They put Donegal to the sword, and we'll see next week. Look, we're 20 minutes gone there. Next game.
Yeah. We'll move on to Croke Park yesterday, will we? First of all, I was there, and I was there. It was a bad game. It was a poor game. Now the conditions were terrible. I don't know if the TV showed this, but the conditions were horrendous. The wind into the Canal End was against the Canal End, against Mayo in the first half, was horrendous. The scoring zone was about 20 yards, 25 yards max now. And now, in fairness, Mayo kept shooting and and their shot selection and their game management against that wind in the first half was shocking for such an experienced team. Like Paddy Durk and Lee Keegan, they were dropping balls short, and Killian O'Connor missed the 14 or 21 yards. And, really poor decision making and game management and shot selection, I felt, by Mayo in the first half. But Kildare didn't capitalise enough their end. You seen the very first play of the game, Daniel Flynn catches a mark 21 yards out, kicks with his left foot and hits the post. That's not really good enough. So all in all, I felt it was Kildare tried. There was huge pressure. I think both managements were under serious pressure. I'm sure you'll get into that in a minute. But under serious, and Kildare, in fairness to them, made 5 changes to the team from the Leinster final. I wasn't sure about the keeper change before the game. I don't know why. I don't know what Donnellan done. Yes, you can see the 5 goals, but none of them are his fault, in my opinion. None of them were a short kick out of went astray, or none of them was any of that type of stuff. So for me, I wouldn't have been laying the blame at his door. But 5 changes, played 15 men behind the ball, and ultimately probably didn't get the fresh legs in early enough to sustain it when they were on the 55th minute. I felt Kildare needed legs, and they had legs. And I don't know why Kildare only used 4 subs, and the 4th one was in the 73rd minute. I don't know why they hadn't flooded the field with 2-3 transition players after 55 minutes and you're 6 points up. I don't know what happened there, but ultimately, what did they do? They pressed the kick out, so they tried, right? They dropped off the ball, so they shored the defence up. They gave away very little goal chances, maybe 3 in total. McLaughlin, Mullins, and Killian O'Connor had another one, right? So, in fairness to Kildare, they did learn a lot of the lessons of the previous case. You have to give them that, but ultimately ran out of legs, and I just would have thought they probably needed, to get a bit more freshness in the middle third,
Yeah, look, I agree with most of that. And one thing, maybe the goalie he seemed to be coming out the pitch pressing is he a bit of more of a ball player than the other guy?
Yeah, well, no, he is. He's midfield for his club. He was my keeper in under 20 2018, right, with Kildare. And Aaron's serious operator now. And he plays midfield for Carberry. I prefer him in goals myself, but he plays midfield because he's comfortable on the ball. There's no issue with any of that. He was coming out to press keeper. Maybe it was a tactic. I honestly don't know. Was he there to play the sweeper keeper? Was he there to play that role? He did come out. He did press kickouts. All I thought, Donnellan wouldn't be that comfortable, even though he plays outfield as well for Maynooth, but still, I don't think he'd be as comfortable as Aaron would be. But I wouldn't. To be honest with you, a couple of kickouts over the sideline. Robbie Henley done it, but there's no one talking about it. That kind of way, like, Ethan Rafferty today. When you win the game, these things, when you lose the game, these things are always blown up. They're always blown up into way more than they really are. That kind of way. And I think a lot of the blame's been put on that young man championship debut. And for me, I wouldn't agree with. Yes, he made a mistake or two, but I wouldn't agree with. So did Henley. So did they all. Like, Henley missed the 40-yard free. I think he dropped it short. Rob Henley, that kind of way. And a couple of balls over the line. So the keeper for me was completely blown out of the equation in his contribution. Yes, he contributed to the defeat, but I don't think I wouldn't be going as hard as a lot of the stuff I'm seeing.
Yeah, look, with Mayo, I suppose McGuinness and Canavan actually commented on Sky Sports. They felt Mayo looked very, very dead in the warm up, and it just from the first half, David, they just looked, really dead on their feet. Just no urgency. You don't associate that with any Mayo team in terms of lack of energy. As you said, shot selection bad. They were letting Robbie have. I know they're pressing the kick out, but Robbie did get off a lot. He didn't get too many long kickouts off. They were letting Kildare were letting them have.
Kevin Feely, is he?
Yeah,
He man the match. In my opinion, one of the best fielders in the country. So I'd say they were worried about that kind of way.
Yeah. So again, as I said to the last day, they always struggle to build up from the back. Like if you have a set structure in place, like they do struggle, and they came up the middle an awful lot in terms of they came up 6 and but you're shutting off the angle. If I'm an inside forward and my men are coming up the middle of the pitch, well, I only have one run there. It's out to the bloody sideline. I can't. There's no sort of angle at all for running inside in terms of And I know the Mayo forwards were getting some abuse yesterday, but there is a bit to it, as in again, Mayo were very slow to transition the ball. I thought Kearney showed some flashes. James Kerr showed some flashes. Obviously, Horn whipped off Jason Doherty after 30 minutes, I thought. He could have whipped off any of them, to be quite honest with you. I suppose he was just sending a message out to the team. Look at here, lads, we need to get this going, or we're out of the championship. And I think, the one thing Horn doesn't get enough credit for is, even last year in the kind of final against Galway, there people around about that was the worst Mayo performance first half in 10 years. Well, I can tell you one thing: against Galway last year in the kind of final in Croker, it wasn't much better. It was bloody dreadful. Yeah. And Horn gets the minute at half time and literally just resets it.
Couple of changes. A couple of changes.
Yeah, a couple of changes, and
he's ruthless, Enda. He's ruthless. And I was watching it very closely when the Doc came off at 30 minutes. Horn had his back to him, talking to selectors. Now there was no well done, Jay.
But that's him. Yeah. I can guarantee you that, in terms of now, there's two ways. Look at when I was in the squad, one of James's one of the critiques from the squad would be there's fuck all communication, to be honest with you. And that used to annoy people. But it can work both ways, David. You can't be babying 30 lads. If he's you have to know your squad. If he doesn't talk to me, I couldn't give a shite, to be honest with you.
Be happy enough.
If you do, in my mind, you do your talking on the pitch. And look at Jason Lowe, the boys who got taken off the last day. You don't need to talk to them because they fucking know that I need to train well here the next week.
And look, Enda, I'd be very similar. I don't do an awful lot of talking. Now, don't get me wrong. Subs coming off, I might say hard look or well done or whatever the odd time. No, but I wouldn't go out of my way.
I still think you should shake a guy's hand coming off the pitch because he's given his all for Mayo. Obviously, it didn't work out on the day. Or could be a number of things why he's coming off. But I still think, you should shake a man's hand. That pisses me off, to be honest.
I agree with you. You know what, you can, and 2 points on it. One, as a manager, you can lead yourself into unnecessary shite to the Enda, right?
Correct.
If you go to shake your hand on the sideline of Croke Park, there's whatever, just say there's 40,000 watching you, right? And he reacts, you know what I mean? Do you need that right here, right now? You know what I'm saying to you? You can get yourself into a world of pain that you probably don't necessarily need to get into. And again, if you know your squad, you know this fella's fiery, the fella I'm taking off. Sometimes you probably have to think, for the benefit of the team, I'd probably better off letting him off. You know, that kind of way, because.
But then your culture, Jamie, you're no man. If I'm no man is better than that's like saying, the man coming on to me and coming on for me. You're supposed to be a collective here, a squad game. That means the guy coming off. I know he's pissed off. But you're being selfish there, and you have to get your culture set then as a squad to trash that bit. It happens to everyone. Everyone gets substituted, and I just think, if he does react, I'd be having a serious word with the whole squad. Then fuck you better not be doing that again.
No, absolutely right, and you address it after. But what I'm saying is, it could be too late then. Do you know what I mean? As in yesterday, if that blew up yesterday, for example, I don't even know, Doc. I'm just giving the example. If that blew up yesterday, right, with Horan and him on the line, and it's a minute out of James Horan from watching the game, and it's distracting the subs, it's just unnecessary shite that nobody. That's all I'm saying. But one other point on you have to and this is where some management struggle, is that with that ruthless, if it's not going your way, take him out, whoever it may be, set a marker, and that all of a sudden you can talk as a manager about standards, and you can talk about we want to do A, B, and C, but until you act, they really and truly, and hold lads accountable. Really and truly, lads can do what they like until you actually act, and then they see, oh shit, right, he's serious about this. He's actually
Well,
going to do.
That's where David ran about building a squad here. The one thing Horn is very strong at is he'd always the 30 lads there, 26, even the lads outside. I give you we'll say there's plenty of lads that have been outside the squad, outside the 26, and the next championship game they've been inside the 26 and came on. So if you're going well in training, there's no issue of bringing a couple of steps onto the team, and that gives everyone hope, a fresh impetus in training, competition. No one can rest in their laurels. All the rest, and it breeds. I would say that's probably Horn's one of his biggest strengths. He gives youth. Gives youth the chance, and he makes sure there's no experienced lads resting on their laurels, or if you are, well, you can be sitting beside me here.
And one, just to finalize this point, the fella, you nailed it there. If you're coming off after 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you know why you're coming off. And let's be honest about it, right? And the only people
that is unusual. That's unusual for him, though. That's unusual to whip anyone off before halftime. It's unusual for him.
Right, but what I'm saying is, if you pretend you don't know, you're bluffing. Like, you're absolutely bluffing, and you're saying, oh, why would you take me off? Hang on, A, B, C, D. That's why I took you off, and you will know that long before I will know that, that kind of way. But that's the management part, and that's probably where it comes down to knowing your squad and everything else like that, But ultimately, Kildare, when you're saying about Mayo walked out a bit too easy, even though they pressed the kick out, right? They still got the ball out away to the D too easy for me, a little bit too easy, even though there was a conscious effort to press Henley's kick out, and that was frustrating a little bit. Now you could see they tried, they changed, they went after the kick out, but for me it looked like a 2-week plan, which I'm sure it was. Do you know what I mean? They only had 2 weeks to do this, not 8 months as you said last week. You know what I mean? So they had 2 weeks, and to me it looked a bit like a 2-week plan. That kind of way, and it just wasn't fully there. But not to be too hard on them, they had to react. They did react. I thought their energy, their attitude. I think Mayo got away with one here. I think Kildare are hardly.
I do.
Like the penalty call or the free in, like, was an absolute stonewall free in minimum for Ben McCormick on Mullen. Mullen at the end. Then he done Ben for picking the ball off the ground. The ball was bouncing. Like, that was a shocking double whammy decision. Now, minimum free in, like absolute minimum, and then flip it around.
Into Hessian's block.
That was
on Flynn.
Daniel,
that was Daniel Flynn. Sorry, that was the game changer.
What Daniel done there was, Daniel, in my opinion, is the most talented footballer in this country, right? And now he doesn't always act on that talent, but in my opinion, I don't think there's anybody else in Ireland as with the tools Daniel Flynn has. He is gifted, but obviously he struggles with the consistency levels. He just struggles to get it out of him all the time. But what he done yesterday for that goal chance, it was just freakish. He just rounded Keegan, O'Hara, and one more, just rounded them like they weren't there, all around the whole lot of them. And they're top five-time All-Star, one of them is, and he just rounded them, like not even like they weren't there. And Hessian came out of nowhere, brilliant block, like that was just ridiculous play. But for Mullen's goal, right, that was a huge slice of luck. Kildare, Paul Cribben, Hilo, and Kerwin, right? 3 men around Mullen, right? And in fairness to Cribben and Hyland, they turned Mullen away from goal, right? And Kerwin came in doing the right thing to get a third man tackle and to get in, right? And he actually knocked Mullen away from the two boys and out towards goal by complete accident. Like, it was poxed. I think you were poxed for that goal, and I was right in front of it. Like, I was sitting on the 21 on that end, the hill end, on the 21 in the Cusack. I was right in front of it. And Kerwin came in to do the right thing. His impact on Mullen actually knocked Mullen back, and all of a sudden Mullen was away, and he was like, oh, Jesus. You couldn't have got luckier on that front, honestly.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Jamie. Like, the second half, look, Mayo did improved a lot. They spread it out. They recycled the ball. They had some really good scores from distance here to bring them back into the game. I thought Darren McHale came in and gave them a bit of a focal point. Yeah, a bit of a focal point up front. Thought Fergal Boland linked the play well. I thought Jim O'Connor
7 points last week, Enda, I heard, for the club.
Yeah. No, there is fresh. You know, they're always calling for. And we'll say the fellas I follow on Twitter, Fergal Button has to start on the start of Jazz. Like so, look again. I personally, I don't think he's a dead starter, but
Yeah,
I think he should be getting more game time than he was. He seems to be in and out of the squad. Like he wasn't in the squad last week, and now he's coming on
yeah.
kicking two score. That's what I mean about Horn. He's just it's just
But
it's
right, and this could be where other counties need to watch club games, right? So he was playing club games last weekend. There's a lot of counties that aren't playing club games. Do you know what I mean? And that's the problem in some counties. They're not playing club league games because they're doing in-house games or whatever they're doing. And so Fergal Boland's of this world doesn't get the chance to go off and get his confidence up and kick 7 points last weekend to get into the squad this weekend. You know yourself, like that's a brilliant thing by Horan. Again, in fairness to him, I know we're blowing up James Horan here, I think, but I'm just saying it is a very, very valid reason and a big pro for giving lads club games when they're not in the 26.
Yeah, because look at what's he going to be doing otherwise? He's sitting at home twiddling his thumbs here, confidence low. He's not in the 26. He's pissed off. Look at
Yeah.
he may as well take his anger out in fucking club
Some
league game
some cornerback in Mayo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Depress him on a Sunday night. But
Yeah, yeah.
look, I know. Look, the guys outside the 26 all played league games, so. Again, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's a benefit, and it did benefit the Mayo squad this yesterday in
Yeah.
Croker with him coming on. So all it is
I'll
benefit.
I'll ask you the same question I asked you last week. Is this Mayo team capable of getting better through the qualifiers? Or now I know the qualifiers are over. I know that, but are they capable of still improving? Because they didn't look like they improved from Monaghan to Kildare to me now.
No, they didn't. I would say. To be honest, Davey, I fear for them against Kerry. No, sorry, I won't fear for them against Kerry. I won't fear for them against anyone. But realistically, I think they'd put up a very good show against Kerry in Dublin. I don't think they'd be much in it, but I think they'd be edged out against Derry. I think they beat Derry. But again, they've left themselves a tough path here now. Obviously losing the provincials. And again, maybe we're hyping up Kerry a bit too much here. Like
Yeah,
the only kind of proven team here is Dublin. To be honest with you, like Kerry haven't done much. They've what's the right expression here now? Last year against Tyrone, like they just
yeah,
they didn't do the business, and they haven't done the business since 14. Really, they've flattered to deceive here.
yeah.
So maybe put Kerry and Derry in that bracket. I think Mayo would have a very good chance against Dublin. Yeah, I
They hurt the last year. They hurt the last year. Mayo do not want Dublin, in my opinion. That Dublin
not
team.
yet, not
No,
yet, not yet.
no. That Dublin team will put Mayo to the sword because they want to answer last year. I think, to be honest, and Dublin have their swagger back. Dublin are back in a big way.
Yeah, but are we overblown? Like the kind of psyche here of look at Kildare. They're badly bet by Dublin, and then they came out yesterday and they're like, they're as you said, we're lucky. Mayo were very lucky to get over the line here. Our Dublin, like I watched that Dublin Kildare game. Like the Kildare did not get hands on them.
Challenge game. Like a challenge game.
It really was. So are we hyping up Kerry and Dublin a bit too much here? Like Kerry haven't played anyone. Dublin haven't played anyone either. I'm going back in my comments saying I'd be fair. Well, I wouldn't fear for Mayo, but like I don't know. But realistically, until the quarterfinals are done and dusted, we actually don't know where all the teams are.
How Mayo aren't better at breaking down a blanket end? That for me was shocking yesterday. How poor Mayo were at attempting to break it down. So Mayo want chaos. They want this transition game. They want pace. They want to run the ball, right? And Kildare took that away from them yesterday by dropping men off, right? They just dropped off them and dropped into their own half, had literally 15 men, vast majority of the time, Kildare had 15 men, if not 90% of the time, right? 15 men inside their own half. And Mayo struggled big time now. Big time struggle. I would have thought a team so long on the road would be far more, coached and capable of breaking down that blanket easier the way the Dublins can. The way them teams just annihilate that system with their width, their depth, their checking runners, everything that they do to flushing through, everything they do to create space and to move that defence. Mayo, I seen very little of it. Very, very little. Like O'Hara yesterday set up Mullen's goal with a flushed run straight through the Kildare defence. 3 defenders sucked into Mullen. O'Hara got through unmarked. Mullen got out of it, slipped it to O'Hara, got it back, bang. But there wasn't an awful lot of that now. There wasn't a huge amount of that. Like.
And to be honest, Davey, now it is getting a bit better, but like, who in the country is good? Like, everyone can put a defensive structure in place and get men back, and that's easy coached. But when you're playing the offensive side of the ball, there isn't too many coaches out there that can actually express what they want you to do on the ball here. And as a collective, you have 8 men, you have 6 forwards, 2 midfielders, we'll say. Like, I've seen very little of that, to be honest with you, as you said there, apart from Dublin annihilate that system. But even Kerry under Keane last year, not a clue against Tyrone. Even the last point chance for Tommy Walsh, like, just screamed of bloody panic and not knowing as a collective. Like, I just don't understand how teams will say don't practice this in training, in terms of you have one last chance of a point in a game. What do we want to do here as a collective? I actually don't understand. And like, where you want to get in the scoring zone, and like,
and who you want on the ball, who you want on the ball.
Exactly. So even for Mayo against Galway, Norm took a shot out in the left wing, like. And again, he's a young lad. He's a good lad coming up. He's a bright future ahead of him. But again, like, was that said after the game, or was that said before the game? I would like to know that. Are the coaches getting on his back? Are the coaches getting on? We say video analysis is key here. Are they getting on their backs for the shot selection?
Jesus, and they have to be. Jesus, there's no way they're not at that level. Like, if you're not sure, you may as well pack it up. If you're an inter-county management and Division 1, and you're telling me they're not clipping Aid Norm shooting on his left foot from the sideline, the Connacht final, or whatever, Connacht quarter final. No way. I can't.
Well, I give you. Leroy put it. The league game against Kerry down in Tralee. He had outside the boot last kick of the game.
Yeah.
Like, is that, like, I know obviously he had a left footer yesterday, which was a little peach, I have to say.
Yeah.
But like, for Leroy, that's I'm probably going to say that's a 5 out of 10 shot for Leroy. To be honest, outside the boot, it was a good distance out. It was on the right ring, cutting across your body, getting that over the bar. That was the last kick of the game, and he's one of the most experienced players we have. So is that and this is not just Mayo. I would question a lot of the teams.
But right. What about what I would do there is, because in fairness to Leroy, right, he has form here. He's done this time and time again now, right? And yesterday kicked 2 one wide, right? But I would clip that and I'd say to him, Enda, I just go, right, Lee, talk me through this. And I don't have the answer here, Lee. Was this on? Was this the right shot? I wasn't on the field. I wasn't there. Was this on? And sometimes, Enda, the collective might say, you know what, that was the shot. Like, that was our opportunity to draw the game or win the game. And you might see from being a manager on the line, geez, that wasn't on. But sometimes the collective will come to you and go, no, he was right to do, or whatever. They do see more than we see, that kind of way, obviously.
But when you get to know the players and their weaknesses or their strengths here, I've seen Leroy in training a lot over the years, and I know that's not his shot. If it's a side post, probably 5 more yards in, I would say, that's a high percentage shot. But outside the boot on the right hand side, and it was a fair distance out now. It was it was a shitty out night as well. So I look at maybe, but collective maybe, Davey. But again,
I know what you're saying. And it's rare. I'm just saying to you, the odd time they do come and say, no, actually, we think he was right. It's rare now, but just
of course.
But overall, you're hoping for. You don't really. You probably want to avoid Dublin, do you? And other than that, you're happy. You'll go at it.
I'd like to see Dublin. I wouldn't like to see Dublin for another round. I'd like to see. I think that Mayo team needs the 2 weeks off here. It needs to regroup again, and it needs to. I think to be honest, Derry and Kerry, I wouldn't be afraid of them, to be honest with you. Dublin, I think we need another round under our belt to give them a good rattle, to be honest with you. And from there. Look at and Horn. You could see from his body language yesterday. Very, very seldom does he go out, walk out the pitch, and shake the players' hands. He
Yeah,
knew he got out of jail
they took
yesterday.
him
He
out.
was.
They took him out.
They did. Yeah, and even like you're on about Daniel Flynn there. Like he is athletically in terms of the attributes. The only thing he's missing is just his finishing. Like I just think, as you said there, he is one of the best players in the country. If he could get his composure for the goal a bit better, like even he went with the left foot. He got the mark in the first half. Went with the left foot, and it wasn't. It was literally
I was
you don't need to
no,
go. You
no.
don't need to go with the left foot there. You don't like. I know if it was another 10 yards out to the side to the right, I would say yeah, fair enough, have a
Yeah,
go at it. But like you're literally just off centre there. Stick it over with your strong foot and go from there. Like you build,
yeah,
when he missed that, he still did a lot of good things in the game in terms of bringing. He's so like his transition play, his speed, as you said there,
yeah.
athletically. And Leroy's no bloody slow coach. He just
No,
burnt the whole lot of them. And
yeah.
like he's just fantastic to watch. But just his finishing, Davy. I think if he could
Yeah.
get that up
Well,
to speed, he'd be.
oh, yeah. I look. I don't know. Is he 31? I'd say he's in around that age. I'm
Is
not
he? Is he
certain.
texting?
Oh yeah,
Is he?
yeah. He's the same age as Mick O'Grady, Kevin. They would have been on that 2013 under 21 team. Am I right? Beating McGaw in a semi final. I'd say he is heading for that. I'd say he's heading for that anyway.
He ain't slowing
But
down, anyway.
yeah, and look, but he ain't slowing down. But I'm not sure the game management is changing either, though. Do you know, I'm not sure he's like if he's 30 or 31, in and around that anyway.
Yeah.
He is that gonna happen? Or I'm not, yourself. But one thing on the Kildare thing as well, as I said, I thought absolutely tried. The attitude was chalk, night and day between that and the previous round. But the lack of game management was shocking. When you go 6 points up, you know. Mayo want chaos. Mayo want transition game. They want basketball. They want end to end, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Whereas Kildare should have taken that away from them and controlled the ball. Control the ball. Play possession. Keep the ball for 2 minutes, and wear the Mayo defenders down, and then you'll get your break. But Mayo want absolute end-to-end chaos football. And I think Kildare, when you're 5 or 6 points up, you had to identify that and take that away from Mayo. They had to take that away from them. And I think we played into their hands a little bit. One, by not making the changes that, okay, if you're going to play the transition game for 75 minutes, at least bring new lads in or fresh lads in with 20 to go to finish that out. But then again, if you had more brains or you got more football heads into that middle third, do you know what I mean? Like, and instead of going forward, there might be a 20-yard hand pass on, but maybe go lateral and frustrate Mayo, because Mayo aren't brilliant when, in that regard, that kind of. So if they slowed the game down a little bit, I think they would have won the game. Honestly, I just think a little bit played into Mayo's hands in the helter-skelter nature when they had the game won. When the game was, sorry, not won, but when you go 6 points up, the game should be won, yourself. So I just thought they should have controlled it a little bit better there.
Probably they pushed them the kick out on O'Neill's kick out. There was a couple of big turnovers there. The crowd, fuck all crowd there, but whatever was there got into it. And yeah, it was just look at the last 20 minutes, and I hate using Mayo. Just seemed like their fitness levels. Mayo seemed, they really finished strong the last 20 minutes. Kildare looked out on their feet the last 20 minutes. To be honest with you,
bench didn't use the bench. Didn't use the bench. I don't think.
Yeah. They really Mayo really finished strong, and they're the ones being positive. And Kildare went back into their shells a small bit, and they just couldn't get their hands in the ball really, or they turned over a lot of ball as well. And during that crucial stage,
why? That's what I'm saying to you. Why did they turn the ball over? Because it was all go, go, go. Do you know what I'm saying? You have the lead. They have to chase it. They will come out after you. Draw them out. Do you know what I'm saying? Frustrate them, slow it down, run the clock. You know what I mean? And at that stage, every score, because Kildare were doing it. Ben McCormick fisted a score, Shay Ryan fisted a score, so they were taking the right options a lot of the time, But they just, I felt they needed to take the sting out of the game for that 5-10 minute period when they hit 5 up, 6 up. They needed to close the game out, and going helter-skelter against Mayo isn't the answer, I don't think, in that regard,
No.
We might move on to Colin Collins and the Rossies. Brilliant stuff. What a game. I caught the end of it in there. What a free. Poor old Rossies. I make it. Someone told me it's a 42 years since the Rossies have won in Croker now. Someone told me.
Yeah.
Jeez,
Yeah.
that's horrendous, isn't it?
Staggering. Yeah, staggering. It's
Oh,
look, we weren't far off our predictions. In fairness, the only one like when Roscommon was it 5 points up with
yeah,
4 minutes,
yeah.
6 minutes gone, and I was thinking like of all the predictions, I was kind of thinking,
I was confident with that one.
yeah, I was, to be honest with you. They just, again, a goal, momentum, the crowd gets into it, and it's just Roscommon, you could see in their players' body language, they froze a bit, they went into their shell, they're afraid to transition the ball. They just kind of froze up the last when it was in the melting pot. They weren't positive. Clare were doing all the kicking, as in they were being positive. In the last score, the winner, number 7, I don't know, I
It
forget
was
his
Jamie
name, but
Malone.
geez, was it? Who was
I
it?
think it was Jamie Malone. I think.
Jamie Malone, yeah. Well, he went looking for the ball in the
Yeah,
middle of the field. Your man
yeah.
had it, went looking for it,
Drove
got
forward.
it, drove forward, punched it in or kicked it in, I'm not sure what it was, and drove past. Like it was just, and it was a great score on the run, full pelt. That's a bloody
Yeah,
hard skill to
yeah.
do at full pelt here, and obviously a lot on the line here, and for Clare football, that's huge. And
Huge.
Keelan Sexton too. The 1-1, the penalty. It was a shit penalty, mind you, but
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
the goalie, obviously, look, he put him the wrong way, but
It's
the
probably another team, and Roscommon. Anthony's there a long time, on the road a long time. I'd say, I don't know. He might go. Yeah, I don't know what term he has, and I don't know any of that. But you'd imagine probably another team that. Right, they did get promoted, so Division 1 side, they need to keep this together now. They really need to drive this on, because you go up there and you're not ready, you'll be you'll be opened up fairly quickly. That kind of way. If you're
yeah,
5% off in Division 1, you're going to get destroyed. And particularly for kind of Roscommon, Derry's, Galway's, the yo-yo teams, they're all the teams that are
exactly.
yo-yoing. They can't afford not to be 100% on the money in January. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. But in fairness to what Colin Collins has done is phenomenal. He doesn't want any plaudits or any tap in the back of any of us, but it's consistent year on year. And I think this is his most impressive feat, because I felt it was gone stale. I think I said it here last week about Meath and them. I thought it was a poor game, 2 poor teams who were looking for the end of the road. Well, Clare yesterday definitely weren't looking for the end of the road. Like, in
Well,
fairness.
sorry, Adrian McGath here, lads. Please don't be shouting out about Clare Roscommon being a shock. Mild surprise at best.
Good man, Ado.
Would you? Would you go?
Look,
I thought it was a surprise. It is
yeah,
like
yeah, like
Roscommon.
Division 1 team against a bottom half of Division 2 team. There's a fair difference there. Yeah, look, it's not the biggest surprise in the world. Let's be honest, it's not. Like, it's not the biggest surprise. But we both thought Roscommon would win. I thought Roscommon would win. They won Division 2. Galway looked like a right good side this year. They beat them twice
Yeah,
this year already. The form line is there. I think the form line is there.
yeah. I thought so too, to be honest.
Um,
But
Lastly, then, will we move on, or do you want to keep going?
yeah, no. The last thing I'd say with Clare, I just hope who can they get now in the next draw. It'd be great. As you're saying yesterday with Cork and Limerick, geez, Clare had a phenomenal result. You just don't want them getting hockeyed now in the quarter
No.
final and undo all their good work here.
And
Because
that's the fear. That is the fear now. Dublin, like, oh my God, not going to be fair on anybody. I don't think if Clare draw Dublin in Croke Park, it's just not right. It's going to undo everything. I was actually wondering. I said it to the fella I was with. I was like, do Clare really want to win this? I know they want to win it, but do they really want to win it? If you know what I mean?
yeah,
Because
if they could end the season now,
yeah, yeah, win the game, job done, pack it up. That kind of way.
yeah.
Yeah, it's dodgy. They want to avoid Dublin. Jesus Christ, yeah, they need to avoid Dublin big time.
We're fucking Kerry and Croker as well, Davey. Like,
Yeah,
Derry.
yeah,
I know we're kind of we're not exactly being complimentary to Derry here, but like and I know if any Clare person's watching this now, they'd be cursing the two of us, basically
yeah,
saying this, disrespecting Clare here. But like,
yeah.
it's a different ball game when you come up against the top 2 or 3 teams in the country.
Animals. Yeah,
Yeah,
they look. That Clare team will not beat any of them teams that are left. It won't be Galway. It won't beat Derry. They won't beat Dublin or Kerry. It's as simple as that. Now, you never know with the likes of Mayo, and I can't play Mayo in this round, but you never know with the likes of them on another day. But they will not. I can't see them beating a provincial winner myself personally. I can't
no,
see it.
no,
Can't see
no.
it.
Go on. What's the last one?
Cork
Cork
and
Limerick.
Cork and Limerick looked like the worst game of the weekend, I think, and it probably played out that way, really. Two teams at their own level, probably just above Talton Cup level, probably, really, the two of them at the minute. And probably played out that way. I thought Sean Powter was phenomenal for Cork, particularly early on. He's a bull, an absolute bull, real standard setter, I'd say, in that group. And look, Stephen Sherlock's a good find for them. Brian Hurley trying hard. John O'Rourke. Cork have good players there, but they just seem to be at a certain level and can't raise it above it at the minute. And then from the Limerick side, brilliant year, Division 2 status, promoted. In a final 12, I think it's super year for Limerick, and played out that way, really, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It's look, Cork is just, I'd love to see Cork at the top table here again. Football needs it. I just, they've been in the doldrums the last, how many years have Cork been in the doldrums? Probably
since 2010, sure.
Years.
Is it?
2012 they were competitive. 2013, since 2013, really, since that core group fell away or retired, or injuries got the better of them, it's just. It's fucking 8 years for Cork football in the doldrums, and the size of the county, the size they're picking, the facilities they have is just, and the great clubs like Mayo and the Bars, phenomenal clubs. I just don't understand what the hell's gone on down there in terms of the talent pool, or what is it all obviously hurling will take some talent away, but they have. Cork is literally not split down the middle, but obviously certain parts for football, certain parts for hurling, a bit like Galway here, But the football part, I just don't know what the hell in terms of. It's just frustrating to see a traditional county like Cork, as you said, just above Talton Cup level, which is just, and it's harsh. It's a harsh critique, but you're not far wrong here.
And I just hope. If they lost to Offaly in the last round of the league, they were a Talton Cup team. It's true. That's what they are. Yeah. But they look again to push it on. They're wide open now. They can play everyone other than Kerry, as far as I'm aware. So, oh God, again, if they draw, I know Dublin. We can't keep worrying about Dublin for every team.
Galway. I wouldn't be fearing Galway that much.
Now Galway now. Galway put in the league. It was a 326 on them or something. Now I know Cork scored 218 or something. It was a mad game, but they put 3. And Galway now are better than they were there defensively. So I would fear Cork, for me, can't go any further in this competition. I can't see them beating any of the four of them, to be honest with you. I just can't see that happening.
Right, a few comments here. Hold on. Patrick Coleman, it's not a super year for Limerick when they got a man sent off in the wrong. They were the better team today. Hold on, I read these. We got a compliment. Shawnee K said, "Mighty discussion here, lads. Put the Sunday game analysis in the shade." We're getting serious pound from this, Shawnee.
The envelopes in the post, Shawnee. The envelopes in the post.
They drew in the league last time they played Championship. Clare won. It's irrelevant what happens next. We beat Roscommon in 16, hammered by Kerry. Didn't knock a hop out of us. What have Galway done? All right, he's getting stout.
They've won the Connacht Championship,
Yeah. That's what else? Yeah, that's just all comments up there. But look, what was I saying there? I just look at for Cork's perspective. I hope it will be. Apart from Dublin, I think Dublin will beat them by 13, 14 points in Croker. To be honest with you, if they draw Cork, I think anyone else, I think it'd be a good competitive game up to 50, 55 minutes, and the other team would pull away. So look, for the good of Cork football, I hope they avoid Dublin, and kind of springboard for next year and feel good factor and go into the winter and hammer and pounds at it.
So look, I think that's where we leave it for this week. Good owl crack there, and I'm sure we'll see you all soon.
Lovely. Cheers, Davey. Thanks for the chat.
Bye.
Cheers, lads. Bye.